Okay, let's talk about derivatives of sine and cosine. So on this one, we have a graph of sine of x. We are asked to estimate the slopes for the graph at these points. And then this is where we're going to graph what the slope is. So I'm going to start with negative 2 pi. So I go to negative 2 pi, and I'm going to estimate the slope right there. Well, that slope, remember, rise over run, that slope looks like a rise over 1, run over 1. So at negative 2 pi, our slope looked to be 1. Now let's try negative 3 pi halves. So right there, the slope right there is on top of that hill. So that's a slope of 0. Okay, let's try negative pi. So right there, estimating the slope. Okay, well that one looks like fall 1, run 1. So that would be a slope of negative 1. Now let's find the slope at negative pi halves. So that one, that looks like a slope of 0. It's flat, so it's 0. Now let's find the slope at 0. So right there, slope of that line looks to be about positive 1. Keep going. Slope at positive pi halves. That's a flat 0. Slope at at positive pi. Oops, I didn't draw that one very well. Let's try that again. So that one looks like negative 1. And we got a couple more. 3 pi halves right there. That's a flat 0. And at 2 pi, that's going to be at a positive 1. Now, if I connect all of these, that would mean this would be the graph of the derivative of sine. So graph of derivative of sine. But wait a second. Isn't that my cosine C? There's my cosine C. So if f of x is sine of x, the derivative of sine is actually cosine. Derivative of sine gives me that cosine graph. So now let's do, next page, let's see if we can find the derivative of cosine. But we're going to do a shortcut this time. Let's find it on our calculators instead. So this, just a reminder from the previous page. So this is the new calculator way. The old calculator way, let's move that to the side. It's going to be n deriv. Should be capital D. You're going to put your equation, comma, the variable you're differentiating in comma, and then the number you want to differentiate, which we just want x. So we should type this into y1 and then graph and see what you get. So I want you to pause the video, type that into your calculator, and then copy down what you get. Okay, you should have gotten that. Now, if you notice for this one, here's our sine S curve, S for sine. This would be a negative sine of x. That negative flips your sine curve up and down, reflection. So the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So here's both of those summarized for you, right there. You're going to want to memorize these. So the derivative of sine is cosine. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. Now, there is a trick to memorizing these. There's a little memory thing you can use. And it's based on, I know you're going to grumble, the unit circle. So let's say I have a unit circle here. Remember, cosine is my x value. So this would be a positive cosine. This would be a negative cosine. Sine is my y value, so this would be a positive sine. This would be a negative sine. Now, your shortcut is your derivatives move clockwise. So if I want to take the derivative of sine, I move clockwise, and it's cosine. If I want to take the derivative of cosine, I move clockwise, and it's negative sine. So if you wanted to take the derivative of negative sine, it would be negative cosine. And then you could keep moving around. So that's a little shortcut for you to help you memorize those. In the next video, we're going to talk about the derivatives of exponentials.